Well, there has definitely been a lot to talk about in the cruise news this week. We have seen changes from the CDC, lawsuits in Florida, and Norwegian Cruise Lines and the Florida government butting heads. But there still is a few stories that we need to cover for this week, and we're going to talk about it right after this. Chris here with High Seas Cruising, and welcome to today's video. Before we get started, if you would do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. It is free to do so and does help our channel grow and allow us to continue bringing you video content. So let's jump right into the news stories, and we're going to start here with Royal Caribbean. So Royal Caribbean has announced that all sailings aboard the Odyssey of the Seas scheduled for Israel have been canceled. The conflict in that area has made it unsafe for the cruise ship to operate, so they are going to go ahead and bring it back to Port Canaveral, and it's going to do Caribbean sailings from there instead for its inaugural sailings this year. Now, they were considering this move even before the conflict started. There was an issue with getting vaccines over in Israel that was already causing delays, but the recent conflict just made that decision simple. So like I said, everything aboard Odyssey of the Seas for Israel has been canceled, and those passengers have already been notified. Also from Royal Caribbean, there have been 46 reported cases of COVID-19 in Singapore. Now, this is in healthcare areas and the airports. None of these have been on board the ship, but it has prompted Royal Caribbean to make some adjustments to the health and safety protocols as a preventative measure. I'm going to go ahead and put up the new key adjustments here on the screen for you guys. And it is guest capacity is reduced to 25% occupancy. Groups are limited to 2 guests. This means at most the ship will have 1,025 passengers on board. All restaurants are closed, and guests will get room service options or grab and go from select restaurants on board. Capacity for live entertainment shows will be reduced to a maximum of 50 guests, and live singing will not be available. Permitted onboard activities like those in the Seaplex, Activity Zone, and Pool Zone will continue to operate at reduced capacity and with enhanced social distancing measures, and masks will be required in the indoor pool. So like I said, these COVID cases did not occur aboard the cruise ship, but just as a precaution, Royal Caribbean is going to go ahead and make some enhancement adjustments just so they don't come aboard the ship and there's no risk of any kind of outbreak on board the ship. And I do think this is another example of how the cruise lines are being proactive in their health and safety protocols to prevent any kind of outbreak on board the ships. Now, Disney Cruise Line has canceled all sailings aboard the Disney Dream and the Disney Fantasy through the month of July, and the Disney Wonder through July 12th. They are still hoping to get some of the Alaska season aboard the Disney Wonder now that the Alaska Tourism Recovery Act has passed in the Senate and is waiting to get passed in the House of Representatives. They're still hoping they can get some of that season saved, just like all of the other cruise lines are doing. And like all of us would hopefully like to still try to get to Alaska this year, if it's possible. And of course, the Disney Magic will be sailing out of the UK on its special staycation itineraries, which essentially are cruises to nowhere. Everybody will be staying aboard the ship during the entire cruise. This week, the Carnival Sensation arrived in Mobile, Alabama. I'm very happy to see a cruise ship return to Mobile, and the crew began receiving their vaccines this week as well. So now we have vaccines being given out at Port Canaveral, the port in Miami, Mobile, Alabama, and they continue to be administered in Galveston, Texas as well, in an effort to get as many crew members vaccinated and ready to go as soon as possible. The governor in Maryland has eased restrictions in the state, and one of those restrictions allows the port in Baltimore to reopen and once again allow cruise ships in. Now, no cruise ships are there yet, But with it back open again, I expect one to be in there pretty soon in order to prepare for summer sailings. In non-cruising news, but still travel news, both Disney World and Universal Studios Orlando have altered their mask policies. Now masks are no longer required while you are outside. There, of course, are still stipulations in there for large crowded areas, and they do still have to be worn indoors as well. So like I said, it's been a busy cruise news week. We've seen changes from the CDC for vaccinated passengers on board cruise ships. You no longer have to wear your mask outside except in certain situations. You no longer have to get COVID-19 tested to get on and off the ship. We've seen a lawsuit between Florida and the CDC this week. And of course, Norwegian butting heads with Governor DeSantis in Florida over the vaccine passport requirements. I definitely expect here in the coming week we will continue to hear more news on those particular subjects, and we do have videos on all of those cruise news stories. You can link to our playlist here at the end of this one and catch up if you haven't had a chance to do so yet. All right, well, I hope you have enjoyed today's video. If you have, let's give it a thumbs up. Have yourself a great day, and we will see you out on the high seas.